here at the Sourcemap headquarters with Leonardo Bonanni, who is the founder of Sourcemap. Leo, tell us more about Sourcemap. What is it?
Well, Sourcemap is the crowdsourced directory of product supply chains and environmental footprints. So it's a website where companies and individuals go and they tell the public where things come from and what their impact is.
Mm-hmm. And where things come from, it has a huge influence on our environmental impact, whether that's carbon footprints or water footprints, and so finding out where it's coming from helps us make better decisions, and that's why I'm super excited about your project. I know you're working with clients now, enterprise clients, on finding out where their supply chain comes from. Any interesting stories about what they found out that they didn't know before?
Yeah, no, so we started out with the assumption that you need to know where things come from to know if they're sustainable, and luckily companies started to approach us and ask us if we could help them find out where their products come from. So the most interesting thing we found out was that companies are trying to find out where their raw materials are coming from to make sure that they are of good quality, to make sure that they're not damaging the environment or communities, and ultimately to try to improve the way things are being made. One of the most striking things that we've helped one client discover recently is the way that climate change is already affecting agricultural production. So we're seeing models coming out of the Center for Tropical Agriculture that are saying, for example, that cocoa won't be able to grow in Ivory Coast, which currently produces something like 80% of the world's supply. So if you're making chocolate or you're buying chocolate, you really want to watch out and start to implement sustainable practices in the field.
Would sustainable practices help, or would they eventually have to change the sourcing location?
There's both kinds of strategies that are being undertaken, but certainly teaching farming practices that are more sustainable, shade growing, use of fertilizers is one way to increase yields, and another way is to invest in new plantations.
Right. So where do you get your data about the climate and climate zones and what things grow there? Where do you find this resource?
Well, Sourcemap is a great resource in itself because companies are publishing the GPS locations of all of their factories and their distribution centers, their retail locations, and the farms and the mines that things are actually coming from. So on the one hand, we crowdsource a lot of data from individuals and from companies' internal databases. On the other hand, we're able to mash up that data with stuff coming in from NASA on climate prediction models. The UN has a lot of food and agricultural resources, different weather data, looking at severe events like tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis. We're basically able to mash up all this data from these news feeds that are already on the web and compare that with maps of supply chains on sourcemap.com and come up with scenarios for what the impact is today and what the impact could be in the future.
Mm-hmm. So say I'm a client and I work with Sourcemap, find out where everything comes from. What do I do with all that data?
Well, there's a number of things that people are doing. The first thing we do is we help companies get into their supply chain systems and find out exactly how good their data is. So do you actually know where your suppliers are located, or do you just know where you're sending a check for every order? So first thing we do is we get all the data out and we visualize it and essentially map it and look at the quality of the data. And very often from that point on, we have to go and interview suppliers to help flesh out the data. And what we do is we create a social network for crowdsourcing the information and linking the supplier with their suppliers, and we get to what's called the N-tier supplier, so that a buyer or even the consumer in the store could be scanning a product and have visibility all the way to the farm or the mine where the raw materials are coming from.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when can consumers start participating and making decisions based off of Sourcemap?
Well, Sourcemap is already live. We have thousands of members and millions of views, and if you go there today, you'll find thousands of maps, for example, of local food, farms, farmers markets, restaurants. So you'll be able to know what kinds of food is available in your area, what restaurants are selling it, and even start sending messages and having discussions with different purveyors in your area of local food. You can also go there and create these maps, and when you make a map, we offer you the ability for free to calculate the carbon footprint, the water footprint, the energy footprint. We're drawing from a huge linked database, and we make those calculations available. So even if a company isn't right now telling you exactly the impact of a product, you can look at whether buying a product that's shipped a great distance is going to make a difference compared to its embodied energy and different kinds of things like that.
Right. How do I know that it's real? Can a company lie about where things are coming from?
Sourcemap is all about verification and transparency. So when companies are publishing on Sourcemap, they're being very careful to tell you the the best version of the truth that they can come up with.
Right.
And it's a very friendly community. It's about people who want to buy local and buy sustainable and ensure the livelihoods of everybody in the supply chain. So by and large, we don't see a lot of misuse of the website. Obviously, anything could be published on Sourcemap. Anyone can get a free account and publish a map. And we really see that as a way to gain more accuracy. So if you have a supply chain that's being interpreted by different companies, NGOs, then you can compare all the different versions and actually get to something closer to the truth.
Right. Let sunlight be the judge, right?
That's right.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us today, Leo.
Thanks, Connie.
And all the best.
Thank you.